03 717 22 3344. Who do you want in charge? Obviously, loads to talk about. Newcastle fans, I'm interested to know. Would you mind Eddie Howe leaving and go and take the England job? It's a bigger job, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's a bigger job than Newcastle. It's one you can't turn down as an Englishman.
I think he would struggle.
If you get offered that, you have to take it, right?
Yeah.
You have to.
I think that would be a very, very tough decision for him, but I think ultimately he would take that job. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Peter. He is a Newcastle fan. All right, Pete.
All right, Pete.
Hey lads, how are you doing?
I'm all right, Pete. You?
Just gutted when he left because I knew this would happen. As soon as he left, Eddie Howe, that's front runner, because he is the best man for the job. If I was in the FA, I would appoint him in a heartbeat. He took Newcastle from have a lot of players that were playing like Championship players within a year, playing like Champions League players. He had the morale. He has our morale in the team out, unbelievable. He's got everything that you need to be the manager. And I'm just praying, hoping that he doesn't go. He doesn't go. I can't see it because I don't think any English manager's ever turned it down, have they?
Well, do you know what, right? I think Southgate turned it down before Allardyce. I'm pretty sure that Gareth Southgate was in conversation with him. He didn't want the job or didn't want it full time. And then Sam Allardyce got sacked after that incident with a pint of wine. And then he took it over on an interim basis, if you remember. He didn't get the job straight away. Yeah. And results went well, and then obviously they come to an agreement to move forward. But I agree with Pete, mate. How can you turn that down? The FA phone you up. And, Newcastle said they're going to fight to keep him, but I think they realise it's going to be a tough one, that.
Pete, here's a question, though, for you. Newcastle start the season poorly. You ain't going to, there's not going to... I remember doing a few shows last season when Newcastle were on the ropes a bit, and there was fans phoning up saying not happy with the performances, not happy with what he's doing right now, needs to get it together. We know what the Premier League's like. It's a cutthroat business. He'll be out the door in 3 months if he don't start well.
Agree with you, Tor. I don't think that would happen, number one, because, we're not got a Champions League to contend with. We've got players coming back. We're going to fit squad. Last season, the reason that happened last season was because of the Champions League, and we weren't ready for it. Eddie Howe this season will have a fully fit squad, and players coming in, I'm sure. And I do believe we'll do really well this season, especially with that manager. I don't think people realise how good this man is as a manager. He's unbelievable. Now, the champion, looking at the Euros, you had Gareth Southgate there, and he consistently Harry Kane up front, right? We, as a Premier League team, players should be playing Premier League pace. We should be basically playing the high press. Without Harry Kane, he cannot play a high press. He hasn't got the legs. You put Gordon on the left, and I know he's a Newcastle player, I'm bound to say it, but yes, put Gordon on the left, put Saka on the right, play Watkins or Tony up front with 3 behind them, maybe Declan Rice, Foden or the new lad Cole Palmer with Bellingham. And then you've got a team that can play a high press. And if we played that team against Spain, I believe we'd have a much better chance if we played the high press of beating them. And do you know what? He didn't have the cojones to drop Kane and play that way, or he didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, he made a lot of mistakes in this tournament. The Foden on the left scenario was just not working, and then he played a version of a 4-4-1-1 in the final. He had Bellingham out wide left. I would love to have seen, because I saw Phil Foden actually started the FA Cup final on the left. He started out there, kept drifting inside. And look, we know Man United won it, and it was a good defensive play, brilliant tactically from Ten Hag, and they couldn't get past. But for me, he is the best number 10, the creative number 10, Bellingham, and he got befuddled with that. He got 2 number 10s, and he got to find a way of getting both in the team, and he forfeited and felt for Foden. Bellingham really should have gone back. That place alongside Rice, I think, looking back now, that could have really been 2 monsters in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I know.
Kobe Manu did nothing wrong. Done well.
No, he done well, but
you get Foden in his 10.
Yeah, we should have played Bellingham in there with Gordon on the left. Let's go to Owen. He's a Gillingham fan. All right, Owen?
All right, boys, how are we doing?
All right, Owen. To you?
Very well, thank you. Jamie, I'd like to say thank you, first of all, for your contribution to Chills. I think it was 1.5 games, we'll never forget. But, anyway, in regards to Gareth, obviously, I think it's one of those days where it's very easy to, we can go in on him and say he's been a bit of a failure in his time in terms of getting us so close. But so far, evidently, the game on Sunday wasn't nearly as heartbreaking as Wembley was a few years ago. But I think it was the right decision now to call it a day for Gareth. I think it's one of those where there's two ways a lot of people seem to really think about it. You can either look at it and say he's got us to 2 finals and that's a great achievement, which it is, but I've always been quite cautious on saying that because I'm always very much looking at the route we had to get there in all of these tournaments, and the old sayings really come true with Gareth. It's as soon as we play someone who's probably favourites in the game against us, we come unstuck. And I think the main disappointment for me on Sunday was that the Spanish were much a better team. There's no denying it, but we get the goal back through Cole Palmer, and then you think, with everything that's gone on in the tournament, the Bellingham overhead kick, the Saka goal, the win on penalties, you get the feeling that maybe something is happening, and against all odds, whether we deserve it or not, we might be en route to doing something. But then we revert back to type, and we put everyone behind the ball again, and no one can begrudge the Spanish from getting the goal in the end to take it. And I think that for me is just, when that game ended, for me, I've been quite, I don't want to say anti-Southgate, but I've been very much of the opinion that he isn't going to be the person to get us over the line. But at the same time, given all the moments we've had in recent years, I wanted us to win that game for him more than anyone else. But I think it was just another example of, you're in this position where he's come so close but couldn't get it done. I think ultimately it would have been too much of a risk from my point of view to give him another tournament. I wish him really well. I'm thankful for the memories, but I think it was the right decision to call it a day as of now.
Yeah, I think he's put it very well there, Ron. Thanks for the call, Ed.
Yeah, let's go to Mike. He's a Man United fan. All right, Mike?
How's it going?
Hey, Mikey.
Yeah. How are you?
Not too bad. Thank you guys for all the coverage you covered over the Euros. Really, really appreciate it. Very good. Very good.
Thanks, mate.
I want to ask you guys just one question. If Gareth Southgate have won the Euros, what would you have thought of him then? Well,
it's a totally different scenario. He made us European champions. It's a very, very different conversation, isn't it? And he probably would have got, Sir Gareth, and there'd been all of the clamouring for that. But the reality is that didn't happen.
I know it didn't happen, but it's hypothetical, like if he did get that, everybody would have been calling greatness, brilliance, and not looking for him to go, and looking him for probably another 4 to 8 years.
I don't know.
I think that there was a 13-minute period from the 73rd to the 86th minute. I said to Jamie, when we took the calls that night, that is the reason Gareth will lose his job. That's the reason he will eventually leave. Because those 13 minutes there were enormous. We were on top up till around... So we scored 73. From that minute up till around about 79, 80, we looked we looked dangerous. Our tails were up. Spain looked rattled. And then from about 79 onwards, when they got the goal, we lost control of the game again. And, them's the moments. Those fine margins, like that, that's where Gareth needs to make sure, or did something to ensure that. Yeah. And we sat back and he said afterwards, Jay, he was thinking about making changes before the end. And that tells you all you need to know. Why, if you're going to make changes, you were saying Bellingham was cramping up. If you're going to make changes, don't wait. And unfortunately, it was fatal.
Yeah, it really was. Mike, who do you want in charge?
To tell you the truth, I honestly do not know, because my point actually is, I actually have to agree with Jimmy Carragher on this. He mentioned this a day ago. Like, he basically said we don't have enough players, ordering basically to stop demanding the ball. And he said that he's played in enough games where he could basically see players hiding and refusing to show themselves to take possession and hoping something would come along from long balls and stuff like that there. Like, if you look back to 2004, like 20 years ago, look at the players that were available to Sven, like back then, and look at the players now. Like, England has had a fantastic team right through the past 20 years, non-stop. It has not one thing to do with the manager. That's just my opinion. It has to do with the players. It is not one, like, the manager obviously plays a very important part, you know, but like the players have got equally, like, exactly the amount of blame as the manager. If you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, all right. No, mate.
Look, too many of our big heads, mate. This tournament did not deliver, right?
No, they didn't.
I mean, you can go through most of the big heads, right? You can talk about Southgate all day long, putting Foden out on the left. That's one of the reasons why. But Kane didn't perform. No. Bellingham, little bits and pieces. Yeah. Foden, really. Saka, done okay in games, I felt.
Yeah,
Rice, disappointing.
Trippier.
You know, Trippier's not, you know, he's playing that position. Walker, I mean, I don't know how he got into team of the season. I've seen pretty much every England game Walker's played. I think it's the worst games he's played in a cluster.
Yeah, I agree.
Know? And is it... Players have got to take some responsibility.
Pickford in the final weren't great.
Yeah, you've got to take some responsibility. No question. Yeah.
All right, loads to talk about. Get involved in the show. Give us a call on 03 717 22 3344.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.